Andrew Heaney and Shohei Ohtani were both great on Thursday. Let's talk about them and some Week 7 sleepers next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Friday, May 7th. I am Frank Stanfill, joined by Scott White. And Andrew Heaney, Scott, up against the Tampa Bay Rays. 6 2/3 shutout with 10 strikeouts. But I feel like we've seen this time and time again. He has great strikeout ability, but also puts up clunkers at times when he has good matchups. He's 66% rostered. What are you thinking? What do we do with Andrew Heaney?
Very vulnerable to the long ball. So, everybody was starting him going into his last start against the Mariners. He serves up 3 home runs. It's bad. Probably everybody pinches him for this 10 strikeout effort. So, he's got a 3 home run outing sandwiched between 2 10 strikeout efforts. And that's frustrating. That's a frustrating pitcher to have. It's been basically the last few years of his career anyway, been like that. It's been a long time since he's had an ERA under 4. I'm skeptical that he's unlocked something new this year. I just kind of feel like he's on a nice run to begin the year, but that's a lot of strikeouts you're giving up if you're taking him out of the lineup. So I think he's a great sell high candidate right now. I think if you have a lot of pitching depth, you probably avoid playing him if you can. But if you don't have much pitching depth, you probably have to play him and just have to stay strong during those starts where he gets beat up by home runs.
Let's move on to his teammate, Shohei Ohtani, who is awesome so far this season. He has 10 home runs. He has 6 steals. He's batting .266. He is tied for the 12th best hitter in fantasy baseball leagues right now, in points leagues. And we received a question on our Full Lane podcast, Scott, asking if you should sell high on him, and if so, what does that trade look like? So what do you think?
Well, we were kind of imagining him as an outfielder and where he would rank among outfielders. Obviously, he's not an outfielder, but there are more players to compare him to there. And I think I'm to the point where I take Ohtani over Bellinger, over Christian Yelich.
Wow, yeah.
Certainly over like Aaron Judge and like Kyle Tucker. So like basically in my top 5 outfielders, somebody you'd be targeting in round 2 just as a hitter without even considering the versatility that you're probably not going to be using because he's so good as a hitter. I think it's lower than that in a points league because the plate discipline isn't very good, and the steals aren't as valuable in the points league as they are in categories. But in the categories league, you should sell him really high. You should be able to get like a true ace for him or another early round type bat.
Yeah, I think the blueprint for trading him is if you have him on a team where you have a bunch of holes on your team, I think you try and receive 2 really, really good players in return. A top 15 outfielder, a top 10, top 15, top 20-ish starting pitcher. If you need depth, I think that's something that you could look at doing for Ohtani, or you could just keep him because I do think he is awesome. Scott, next week is week 7 already in the fantasy baseball season. Who are some sleeper pitchers that you're looking at for next week?
Yeah, so there are a lot of good 2-start options that might be available in your league. Robbie Ray coming off a great start, and his velocity is amazing this year. Best year he's shaping up to have since 2017. He has 2 starts this week. Adbert Alzolay, he's available in 65% of CBS sports leagues still, even though he's looking great, featuring his new slider a lot more. At Cleveland, at Detroit this week. Those are 2 good matchups. We're going to see that roster rate rise. Madison Bumgarner, 4 great starts in a row. Not giving up many hits, throwing harder, getting more whiffs. He has 2 starts this week against the Marlins and the Nationals. Brady Singer gets the Tigers and the White Sox. He's been up and down, but those are good matchups. Jordan Montgomery, similar, up and down, but gets the Rays and the Orioles. If you got to go really deep, Luis Garcia, he's available in 85% of CBS sports leagues for the Astros. I think he has a lot of swing and miss potential. Not going to go deep into games, but one of his 2 matchups is against the Rangers, so that's a good one.
Madison Bumgarner in particular, Scott, you mentioned the name there. It looks like he is back at least to 2019 levels when he was a pretty serviceable pitcher for fantasy baseball purposes. How about on the other side, some sleeper hitters that you're looking at for next week?
So the Rockies are home for a full 7 games this week, and a lot of their hitters have been heating up. CJ Cron, I like a lot. I think Garrett Hampson, it's a good week to start Hampson. Raimel Tapia, Dom Nunez, their catcher, mostly righties on the schedule, so I'd be looking to start him. A couple of hot hand plays that I think have good splits for this week. Andrew Benintendi, good road numbers. That's where the Royals are this week. They're on the road. And Andrew McCutchen, 4 lefties on the schedule for the Phillies. He tends to hit them well.
Get those Rockies in your lineup. 7 games in Coors next week. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again on Monday morning. Bye-bye.